New York Fights welcomes Breyon Gorham to the show. Breon's got a big fight coming up. He is on the overtime boxing card this weekend, Saturday, September 20th, overtime boxing, and in Houston. You get a home
Yes,
game.
ma'am.
Thank goodness.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I bet that's a pleasure. And we'll talk a little bit about your well-traveled road. You have a IBF North American super lightweight title on the line. That's kind of a nice gravy on the top. Um, 20 and 0, 16,
Yes, ma'am.
16 knockouts, and hard work, won rounds, every one of them in a very competitive division, which we'll also talk about. And you're going up against a Puerto Rican veteran fighter, Yomar Alamo. And I would think some of the audience will know his name because he's got a lot of, significant names on his resume. And he's going to give us an idea, a little more of how you match up. He's fought Jermaine Ortiz, who he just fought and lost by decision. But he's also been with Tiger Johnson, Richardson Hitchens, Liam Paro. It's a measuring stick fight. How are you looking forward to this fight? And what do you know about Yomar? What have you seen of him?
I'm excited, man. This is everything I've been working for my entire life. Up to this point, my coach Lopez, he said that everything's gonna be a domino effect, and this is part of the domino effect. I feel, as far as knowing Alamo, I know everybody he fought, all the guys he fought, and he got a nice little resume. But when it was time for him to step up, he lost in the competition. So it's gonna be the same here.
So he's got to get used to this. You're going to come at him in exactly the same way. Absolutely, a super competitive division at 140, and a lot of action, especially at the tier that you're looking up at right now. Really, one of the most competitive divisions in boxing. Where do you see yourself right now at this stage of your career? And when will we look forward to seeing you step in with one of those names we just mentioned, or one of the many others out there?
um, as far as now, I when I fought my I think 17 fight, I consider myself a contender. Now after I feel like after this win, people gonna put me in the contender status. But in my mind, I already been there. At this point, I feel like I'm a champion in my mind. Um, like I said, I just got to go conquer the moment. God opened up the doors for me, and this is just part of His plan. I just got to go conquer, and you know, I feel like a year from now, 2 years from now, I could see myself being a world champion.
When does a boxer feel that shift in mentally in your soul when you go from um, prospect to contender? How does that shift feel, and when do you know it happens?
For me personally, I feel like it was just over the years, the work we put in, the fights, me being able to be comfortable in the ring, the step up in competition like this one here. It all comes as a collective. It all works together. It helped me build the mental strength, the confidence in the ring. And I go out there and perform, and that's sets for everybody else. It's everybody else to say, that if they feel like I'm a champion or contender, but in my mind, I'm always a champion. In my mind, I'm always on that higher level. So I just got to prove to the world right now.
Wins and success always start in the mind first. And we think of boxing as a very physical sport, but it's more a mental sport, isn't it? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, I definitely feel like it's a lot mental because not only are we dealing with the things inside the ring, being able to fight each other, and we got our opposition trying to hurt us and things like that. We also got to deal with outside things outside the ring, problems that life bring on its own. So you got to be able to weigh those things out, and I feel like you conquering those things, it makes you a champion.
Absolutely right. A lot of fans are going to be a little bit new to you because so much of your early career, when you started your pro career, you fought a lot of fights in Mexico. I actually decided to count them on my fingers. 14 of your 20 fights have been in Mexico. How did that happen? I know you're working in Houston out of the Lopez boxing gym. Was there a deliberate decision to start your career in Mexico and stick with it as long as you did? And you fought a lot of those fights right there on the Mexico-Texas border in
Yeah.
Piedras Negras.
Yeah. So when I first got signed, I got signed with a promoter, Lord rest his soul, Cameron Duncan. He first signed me, and he had a couple fights set up for me in Mexico. The first two was in Mexico. No, the first fight was in Mexico. I had my second fight in Beaumont, Texas. And after that, it was we was kind of at a standstill a little bit, like almost shelved after a while. Fights, so we have fights, and the fights will fall through a week before the fight and things like that. So um, I was kind of unmotivated at the time, so I ended up getting with my coach, Coach Juan Lopez. I want to say 2 years after I signed with Cameron Duncan, and COVID had just hit. So a lot of the fights in the
Ah,
states,
right.
it was hard to get. It was hard to get the fights. So it was cheaper fights in Mexico. Coach was keeping me busy out there. We was getting fights every other month while people was at a standstill in COVID. So we just took advantage of the time we had.
It turned out be a little bit of a blessing in disguise, didn't it?
It was a blessing in disguise, man. It helped me be comfortable in the ring. Fighting the opposition I was fighting, the guys was tough, but we had the skills to handle those guys, and I was learning on the job. I feel like I always say that I was learning on the job, and it helped me be prepared for these type of fights right here.
I don't think I'm on the border in San Diego, so I'm pretty familiar at least with what happens in Tijuana. It's a gritty scene, isn't it? I mean, it is
Definitely,
just, there's
definitely.
nothing else quite like these, very tough, cards there along the border in those gyms, right, or those venues. And the fans are right up on top of you, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's hot. It's super hot. The places we were fighting at had no air conditioning. It was steamy in that mud, man. But that's the things that mold us. It molded me to the fighter I am today. I wouldn't change a thing up. I wouldn't change anything.
Was going to ask you about that, how you think, as an American fighter, you have a very American, look and pedigree to you, but yet you were down there grinding away, and that had to have rubbed off on you.
Yeah, it definitely did, man. A lot of people they like to criticize, the guys who started out like that. One of the famous names, Devin Haney. He started his route in Mexico. And,
Did.
I feel like it doesn't matter where you start; is where you finish. Everything was designed for us. Everything was with a purpose, and it put us in the position we are today, man.
Well, a lot of the Mexican fighters started down there and didn't do too badly either. And it looks like one thing you brought across the border with you now into your American fights, you wear Reyes gloves, which is really unusual.
Yeah,
It's a puncher's glove. And you hear a lot of guys talking about, you know, you really feel it when you punch someone in those gloves. Knowledgeable boxing fans see someone like you wearing those gloves and say, damn.
yeah, yeah, man. I like the way they make me. I like the way they feel on my hands. Like you said, they are puncher's gloves, and I remember my first fight with overtime. My opponent was wearing Reyes gloves, and I seen how small they was, and I was like, man, let me get some of them gloves too. Like, so it was kind of that sort of thing. In Mexico, we was fighting with the gloves that they had out there for us. They'd give us. It was so crazy. They have a bag full of gloves that was used. Looked like they used them in a gym, and they like gave them out and gave them to us. It was that type of thing. But we got the luxury now to use the name brand Cleto Reyes, and I feel like that's the one I'm gonna go with for a long time.
Love it. That is crazy. I'm sure not many fans have heard that, that you're getting out there. It's a professional fight. It is on your record. And here's a bag of gloves. Yeah,
Yeah,
see what you like and what fits you. And probably
yeah.
a lot of them are just beat to hell.
They was beat, definitely beat.
Well, thank goodness you signed to Overtime Boxing last December. You've been on a roll. You just had a terrific fight against Luis Feliciano, who's, a very tough guy. And you stood right in there with him. And you had a commentator sitting ringside. I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but Shakur
Yeah,
Stevenson hopped on the mic doing
yeah. That's my boy.
commentary. Yeah, very complimentary to you, although, had some real comments which were, very valid and, I'm sure very valuable. You've sparred with him, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, how did that experience add to your skill set?
Um, when we sparred, I was helping him get ready for his fight with Robes and Kazan Sal. He had called me to camp. I had just fought a. I'm sorry, did I go out?
Nope, you're here.
Okay. I had just fought a fight in Mexico. I forgot his name. He was a guy from Colombia. We had just fought, and I had got the knockout win. A month later, they had called us in to help him get ready for that fight. So, the experience was crazy. It showed me that I'm just as good as the top fighters in the world. It showed me that I'm on their level. You know, it was definitely a learning experience for me. It was definitely something that I hold on to now, man. And I was just thankful to be a part of it and have that knowledge, gain that knowledge, and be around those type of guys in the gym.
Looking at your record, looking how you fight, looking at the gloves, and your, knockouts, most people would assume, hey, yeah, you're an all offense fighter. It was Shakur who pointed out that you have a very underrated defense. When someone says something like that to you, do you agree?
I definitely agree because I be so focused on pressing the action, being a fan friendly fighter, that type of thing go over their heads. That's something my coach he puts a lot of emphasis on. My family, my dad, he puts a lot of emphasis on protecting myself and coming out healthy. So defense is something I definitely focus on, but I try to make it fan friendly as well, though.
I imagine you were like me and a lot of other people, and we'll find out how many millions it was, watching an absolute masterclass this last Saturday from Terence Crawford. And a lot of the same things could be said about him. And certainly in this fight, defense was his defense was phenomenal.
It
He
was.
just did not get touched by someone who's known as a very big, aggressive Mexican puncher. And it
Yeah,
seems like American boxing and in Midwest boxing, even, and I'll put you in that category, is really having a moment. Um, do you look to Terrence as a role model for you specifically because, he was one of the greatest super lightweights of all time? We can say that.
definitely.
And also because he is leading American boxing into what looks like, I hope, a very healthy period of time.
Yeah, man. Terrence is definitely somebody I feel like a lot of young fighters should take heed to and study. I'm a student to boxing. I'm a student to the sport, and that's definitely one of the guys I like to take a lot of different things from because he's so well rounded, and he never disappoints, man. He goes out and show every time that it's something different to his game. He has a whole different level he can bring it up to. This fight showed in the Errol Spence fight. It showed in this fight. You know, um, and I feel like we still haven't seen the best of Terrence Crawford yet. It's just little by little. I feel like if he would have been on the scene like how he is now, uh, man, it would have been different. His career would have been different early on.
Yeah, he has had a little bit of inactivity and not his fault at all. How important is he to your generation of American boxers?
I feel like he's super important, man. He plays a big role on a lot of the fighters today. Shakur Stevenson, one of the guys that's under him, and like I said myself, I study boxing. That's one of the fighters I study. One of my favorite fighters, him, Mayweather. You know, the list goes on and on, man. I'm just thankful to be a part of this generation, and be able to witness these type of things and witness these guys. Because in the times where Tyson and Holyfield was around, I wasn't born around to witness it like hands on. So I'm around greatness right now.
Very excited about this, looking forward to it. What time is it? What time is it?
Oh, grind time! I thought you asked the time.
Hello?
Hey, it's grind time. You know that. You know
What
that.
time is it? If you go to a Breyon fight, I'm just letting everybody know, you're going to hear, what time is it? You better know what the answer is. I
Oh yeah.
understand that was something that your family came up with. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Everybody, my uncles, they started it. I had my very first fight out here in February of 2024 after fighting a long time in Mexico, and they just came up with the chant out of nowhere. They was just like, "What time is it? Grind time. What time is it? Grind time." So, that's something I just took under the wing, man. I took under my wing and I ran with it. I just went by the motto grind time because I'm always in the gym. I'm always grinding. So it's time to grind. When I go to the gym, it's time to grind. I don't like to talk. I don't like to lollygag in the gym. It's time to grind. So
Well, you adopted it, and they obviously know you well and know what you're about. It's very fitting, and you've just adopted it like a custom suit. Seems to fit you perfectly.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's remind everybody what time is it? It's
It's
grind
grind
time
time.
Saturday, September 20th, Houston, Overtime Boxing. Um, it's starting to head you up the rankings in the IBF, and we all know who you're going to be looking up at here.
Yeah, I want to fight the best fighters on the planet. This is what I'm in the sport for. I'm in the sport to test myself against the best guys in the world. I want to go down a Hall of Fame fighter. When I retire, I want them to say that Breyon, he fought all the best fighters on the planet and he beat them. So I never shy away from a challenge. I never shy away from testing myself and taking those risks because we in the sport where you have to take risks to be great. Look at all the guys that's doing it now. Terence Crawford just did it. He took a risk and he reaping the benefits of it now. So I take that as motivation. To no matter what happens, you got to take those risks.
And that can be said of the current generation of American boxers too, and we are loving it. So, Breyon, thank you for talking to me. Thank you for being part of that generation and putting some new energy into boxing. We couldn't be happier about it. Best of luck.
Thank you so much, Gail. I appreciate you for your time, honestly.